our services, our jobs, our lives.
Our developmental service system has already absorbed ongoing massive cuts and has had to implement dramatic changes in the Latterman Act service delivery in the past 3 years alone. We oppose the proposed $200 million reduction to the 2012 Department of Developmental Services budget. We support the sunset of the 4.25% reduction to operations and purchase of services. What is the impact of over $1 billion savings since 2008 and 2009? Reduced eligibility for services for infants and toddlers, individuals with milder forms of intellectual and developmental disabilities, increased cost for families through creation of family cost participation program and annual family program fee. Services are more limited. Whole categories of service have been suspended, capped, or eliminated. Payment reduction, which was to be temporary, has continued for 3 years and increased last year from 3% to 4.25%, on top of ongoing rate freeze for service providers. Years of unallocated reductions and added mandates have had a compound effect upon our clients and families, increasing the administrative demands upon regional centers and seriously eroded the safety net provided by the developmental services system. 4.25% payment reduction has been applied to both purchase of services, service providers, and operations budget, which includes a regional center's direct services. Our caseload and administrative workload has grown, impacting on our ability to serve our clients and families. The center now serves more people, but have less money overall, creating a doubly negative effect on those served. We worry about the quality of services as service providers struggle to stay afloat after years of cuts. We remain committed to continuing to increase federal revenues and reducing reliance upon state institutions. Regional centers continue to bring in additional federal Medicaid and other federal waiver funding to California, adding additional administrative workload requirements. Unfortunately, as our general fund budget is reduced, we lose federal matching dollars. Each dollar cut can cause up to $2 of actual lost funds. Services in the community are most cost-effective and less restrictive. However, ongoing funding reductions have destabilized our system of services in the community. Clients and families with developmental disabilities have already made significant sacrifices and cannot absorb additional reductions without jeopardizing their health and safety. The regional center serves approximately 250,000 clients. Of these, around 100,000 are adults over the age of 21. Nearly 3/4 of the regional center's clients either live with family or in their own residence. When people are not able to live on their own, owing to a lack of supports and services, the cost for the state can be 5 times higher.
Please don't cut our services.
Please don't cut our services.
I've been working for the Charles River for 4 years. When I get lots of money, I would like to take my parents to a cruise.
We'd like to continue the services so that Sergio can continue being value added in his community, as well as other people throughout the state with disabilities, to be value added to their communities and provide that contribution.
Hi, my name is Eva Dalton, and I work at MC Electronics, and I've been receiving services from San Andreas since 1994. Please continue supporting us and the little kids and adults and all their families. And we need the services, and we need your support. Thank you.
What is incontinence exactly? Doesn't take away our funding, because without the funding, people like me will not be able to exist with the kind of life I live or want to live.
if the state continues to make cuts, that affects San Andreas. We're not going to be able to have all the employment we have and provide all the, support to our fellow community members.
Think of what it's like to be us. Would you like to have your service taken away?
When the government is looking to make cuts, that takes services directly away from the families who need them most and the children who benefit from those services.
Dear legislators, please don't stop supporting us because we need it very badly.
My name is Santi Rogers. I'm Executive Director of San Andreas Regional Center. This is my 17th year here and my 45th and a half year of service to people in California. The important part about that is I was just fortunate to be born into the family in Fresno, California. That's actually a place, folks. It's actually a place. In the great San Joaquin Valley, that is part of their beliefs, is being active citizens. And part of being an active citizen included looking for every opportunity to help your neighbors. Speak to your neighbors, not in fancy ways, certainly no media, but it's that handshake across the back. Many times there weren't even a fence there. But the realities were, what can I help and how can I help and what do you need? It sounds simple, doesn't it? Is it sustained in the world that we live in now? Is it sustainable in the world we live now when we have better communication than ever before? See these? Have these improved better communication for everyone? I think it really does help to know about something that's going to happen any second from now. But overall, don't underestimate what you already have in your repertoire. It's right there. Whichever way you speak it, whichever language you speak it. So today we're here again to celebrate what I have in my hand. This is the Lanterman Developmental Disability Services Act. In 1965, a number of moms approached the Capitol with great fear. I know every one of them. I happened to be there when they actually spoke in front of the legislature. Most of them are in heaven now. They were bringing a simple message. We're here to speak for justice. They wore little pillbox hats. They were to be seen and not heard from. Those were standards of the time. It was good manners. You wore white gloves. It's hard to believe that. Some of you only saw that in movies. It really was real. They walked into the state capitol and built the incredible voice for people that they knew were underserved. They wanted another option, as this law talks about, other than state institutions where there were 12,000 people living there. They wanted another option for their sons and daughters to have access to everything everybody else had access. An opportunity for a good place to live, an opportunity for a job, and most importantly, that glues all that together, an opportunity to have ongoing relationships that they choose. And that's where this started. And that's what we're here to talk about today. How do we do this? This act was destined to have as its base a creation of a group of people that were reflective of the diversity of California, delivered through something called a regional center that you heard spoken to. A regional center would be a community-based group of folks who are impacted by the service, potential service that they were planning, and also the delivery of that service, and they would be a non-profit organization. There are now 21 of those. San Andreas Regional Center serves Santa Clara, Monterey, Santa Cruz, and San Benito County. What a beautiful part of California. But I can assure you, all those other 54 counties of the 58 are also have beauty. Most of it is agricultural land. It has a diversity equal to no other part in the United States in my biased way. but it really becomes more diversified than ever before. The leadership of that is community-based. In the room today, and I first bring her sorrow that she can't be here, Jessica Rincon, our board president who lives in Salinas. We were all in the Capitol on Wednesday, and we got to shake a lot of hands. She shook one too many hands. She's a little under the weather. She's a parent, she's our board president. Mitsuno Vermaster, right here, raise your hand, brand new board member. We have a lot of our board members traveling all over. The beauty of this, once you're a board member, right, Stella, you're always a board member. Stella Lauerman, our past board member, right there. The beginnings of the Lanterman Act, when then, many of you don't know this history, I'm kind of a history advocate. Started, there was a, what was his name? Edmund Brown was the governor of California. And he was, had a close working relationship with then one of the most powerful positions, elected positions after the governor, is the Speaker of the Assembly, as well as the Pro Tem of the Senate. The Speaker of the Assembly was a big name for a little guy like me when I met him. His name was Jess Unruh. Mr. Unruh was the actual first person that those moms actually got to see. He saw it. And he did this amazing, amazing thing. He did a lot of amazing things, and you have to go research that on your own. The serious thing that he did, he put them with a fellow about that big. He's about that big, but his cigar always looked bigger to me, and I always had to call him sir. His name was Frank Lanterman from the Pomona area, Assemblyman Lanterman. Assemblyman Lanterman was, in fact, one of the third most powerful person in California, in my opinion, because if you wanted to get a bill off that floor of that assembly, he had to say, guess what? Yes, yes. And if you didn't ask in the right way, you might not have had the chance to have that bill get to the right place. He put him with those moms. And from that point, something magical happened. The magic is in California law. Our challenge today is what we're going to bring you the message, is how do we keep that magic forefront and in front of us for every minute of our day, because all of it's at risk. That's not a negative thing, it's a point of reality. It is at risk, and we're going to make a difference. We're lucky to have with us today a member of that great body of assembly, representing our geographic area. Those of us who live here are very, very happy to have Bill Monty, Assembly Member Bill Monty here. With him is Adam Spector. Adam, where are you? Adam. Oh, way over there. There you go. Make sure you do that. Also here today with us is representing Sam Blakesley is, where are you, Bill? Bill? No?
Senator Cannell.
I'm sorry. I told you I was dyslexic. I can't read both of those right there. Representing Senator Cannell, Bill Ritz. Give my apologies, especially my apologies to you. Representing Senator Sam Blakesley is Crystal Clark. Where are you? Are you good? Okay. Let's see. Let me make sure. Okay, and representing Assemblymember Luis Alejo, right from our geographic area, Javier Gomez. Javier was sitting there a minute ago. Let's give him a big hand. And representing himself, Mark Stone, Santa Cruz Board of Supervisors. miss anybody. Did I miss anybody, Francisco? You sure? I'm running out of time, right? Okay, and I'll catch up on the tail. It's my pleasure now to introduce you to this program. You have the programs in front of you. Sure. I want you to follow along. It's my pleasure to introduce the MC for our program, who's done this before. She does a great job. She is the chair of our Service Provider Advisory Committee. It's a standing committee of our board. We value it. They meet every month, and they are very active throughout only our geographic area, but throughout the whole state of California. So give Sherry Reynolds a warm welcome.
In honor of Autism Awareness Month, I can't help but reflect on the major battle won last year that will benefit thousands of Californians. On October 9, 2011, Governor Jerry Brown signed Senate Bill 946. The law, which takes effect on July 1st, requires that health insurance companies cover proven behavioral therapy for people with autism, therapies like ABA. This important piece of legislation was a hard-fought battle. Big insurance companies with lots of money and powerful lobbyists opposed SB 946. They did not want to lose this battle, as it would mean millions of dollars to them. So they did not go down without a fight. But you know what? They went down. Why did they go down? According to State Senator Steinberg, quote, "This day would have never happened if it were not for the countless families and advocates who have been working tirelessly on this issue for many years. Moms and dads made a difference. You all can make a difference, and that's why you're here today. Moms, dads, and vendors, and consumers. We can make a difference, but we have to have our voice be heard." The state has cut developmental disabilities, you heard in the video, significantly over the last few years. 4.25% was the most recent cut. You're talking about nonprofit organizations. Where is 4.25% supposed to come from when you're at the razor's edge? Nonprofit. It means that quality of services are in jeopardy, and businesses are in jeopardy of going out. That means that independent living programs, day programs, respite, in-home behavioral programs, they're all in jeopardy of going out of business if we don't protect our rights of funding for the regional center. So while the small insurance battle was won, the war for developmental disabilities rights is not over. So families and advocates must continue to fight to protect our newfound rights and current funding. We must fight to protect the services for people with developmental disabilities. If we can win a war against powerful insurance companies, we can surely win the war against additional cuts. How do we fight? You advocate by writing letters, meeting your legislators, emailing, calling, spreading the word, and getting others involved. It doesn't end when you leave here today. You have to go out and fight. This is a war. We won one battle. We must continue to fight and win more battles so we win the war and protect the Lanterman Act, protect the rights of people with developmental disabilities, protect quality care. Let your message be clear. Stop the budget cuts to the regional center system. End the 4.25% cut. Allow it to sunset. And now I want to introduce our first speaker. Her name is Andrea Brinson. She's the founder and CEO of the South County Autism Awareness Project located in South Monterey County. Upon relocating from Hanford, California to Soledad, Andrea immediately became aware of the lack of resources and services for her 2 children diagnosed with autism. 10 months ago, she founded South County Autism Awareness Project to address the needs of families affected by autism and other differing needs in her own neighborhoods. Andrea is married to John, a correctional officer at CTF, Soledad, and together they have 3 successful children. Nakia, age 21, Kendrick, 19, and Trina Lynn, age 8. Kendrick and Trina Lynn are diagnosed with autism. Nakia is a senior at Sac State, and Kendrick is a freshman at San Jose State. Trina Lynn is a 2nd grader at Monterey Park School in Salinas. So let's give a warm welcome to Andrea Brinson.
Thank you so much. Are you enjoying your breakfast? Yes. Great. story with you, and it's a personal inspiration story of my 2 children. Again, my name is Andrea Brinson, and 10 months ago, I did found South County Autism Awareness Project to address the significant lack of awareness, resources, and services to individuals diagnosed with autism and other developmental disabilities in South Monterey County. Now, there have been some questions to me when we talk about South Monterey County, and that demographic goes from Chular all the way down to Bradley. Every day I receive calls from parents who suspect that their child may have a learning or developmental disability, or parents of a newly diagnosed student, and they don't understand what resources are out there or available. Most are concerned with how much that these services are going to cost them. Many of my demographic in South Monterey County are migrant farm ag workers. Many don't know where to turn for information and services, let alone they fear the cost of raising a child with developmental disabilities. I remember 17 and a half years ago, my 19-year-old son, Kendrick, was diagnosed with mild mental retardation and autism spectrum disorder. After allowing 3 days for the grieving process, my husband and I immediately got to work in a quest to understand the dual diagnosis that my son had been given. My son was nonverbal until the age of 7. Countless hours of seminars and conventions, all paid by San Andreas Region, or not San Andreas, Central Valley Regional Center. Vital therapies, including ABA. We chose to only find the best and the most experienced speech and occupational therapy, social emotional enrichment programs, and the best behavioral intervention firms available to my son. At that time, we put our trust in the Central Valley Regional Center for service coordination and payment of these expensive but vital services. Without the valuable financial support, we would not have been able to afford the very services that have changed Kendrick's life. I stand here before you, a very proud mother. Kendrick's story has become an inspiring story for many to view as a success. Against all odds, Kendrick has overcome the many obstacles that he has endured. I don't give credit to myself, I don't give credit to my husband, but I do give credit to the regional centers and to the hardworking service providers that supported him and taught him to overcome his obstacles. Even affected by autism, my son graduated at the top 25% of his class. He was a graduate of Soledad High School. Kendrick spent his high school career excelling in not just class, but on the basketball court, averaging 18 points per game. Last year, Kendrick won MVP. He was ranked 8th in the area. Last year, my son even went to prom with his neurotypical girlfriend. That was amazing. Today, he majors in accounting with an emphasis in global finance at San Jose State University. He still receives services from San Andreas Regional Center, from the Department of Rehabilitation, as well as ILS services, which are independent living services provided by New Horizons. His story is very successful, but my story does not end there. I am also the proud mother of an 8-year-old girl diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Her name is Trina Lynn Brinson. Trina Lynn attends Monterey Park. She's in the 2nd grade. She loves playing with her behavioral interventionist. She loves animals, cartoons, and yes, Justin Bieber. Her interventionalists from Aspirinet Services are very, very close to her and very close to our family. Not only have they taught me how to learn her behaviors and learn how to overcome those behaviors because they were vastly different than my son Kendrick. But it was through experiment that she is learning patience, reciprocation, understanding social cues, and how to cope with the stressors that all of us adults do not feel. With this being said, I must tell you, I am worried about Trina Lynn. In today's tough economic times, service budgets are being severely cut. Service budgets such as South County Autism Awareness and the many vendors that sit in this room. It scares me that my daughter will not have the opportunity to excel to her highest capability. I don't know next year or in the coming years that vital services will not be available due to lack of funding. How do I explain to my daughter that because of money became the issue between her success and her inability to gain the skills necessary to become an independent and self-supporting member of our society? How do I explain to her that mom and dad can't afford these, even though that mom and dad make a significant amount of money? We still can't afford these. We fund South County Autism Awareness on our own. We do not receive any funding. We do not receive any grants at this time. We have funded the entire project on our own. How will families receive the support and therapeutic services needed for their child diagnosed with a differing ability? How will these individuals become their own most valuable player? But all of you can make a difference. You have the power to fight for my daughter's future and for the future of all individuals, not only in South Monterey County, but county-wide, affected by learning and developmental disabilities. Yes, it's true, I founded South County Autism Awareness Project to make a difference. I believe that you all are here today to make a difference in the lives of the very people that need you most, the people that are sitting in this room. Like Kendrick and Trina Lynn and the countless others that need our help. I want to leave you with one final thought. And actually my son memorized this. I don't have the memory he does, I can tell you that. And it says, and he told me last night when I was searching for words to say to each of you today. He said, Mom, tell him this. Tell him never believe that a few caring people can't change the world. For indeed, that's all who ever have. Thank you.
Hi, I am Toby. What's your name?
My name is Melinda, and I'm a principal in San Jose Unified School District. Regional Center helps me in many ways. The first way is that I have a son. His name is Harlan Toby, and he's 3 years old. And when he was born, he had a significant number of things that he needed support and help on. And so San Andreas Regional Center provided him with a teacher, a speech therapist, and an occupational therapist to get him ready so that he could enter school as he goes into kindergarten. But I also have the opportunity to work with San Andreas Regional Center every day as part of my job because I have a wide variety of students who come through my school who have special needs themselves. And so it's a wonderful partner to have in the community. Having kids have early intervention and having support services to be successful in school, I think, is one of the most important things. And so I can't imagine the Bay Area without San Andreas Regional Center and without having those early intervention services for infants as they're born and they need support all the way up through kids who are going through middle school and high school and getting ready to be career ready. It's an essential service here in the Bay Area.
Hi, I am Toby. What's your name?
My name is Allison Stroot. I found out about the San Andreas Regional Center through our speech pathologist here at school. And I called them and they were wonderful. They provided speech therapy for my son. After 9 months of speech therapy, he was actually reassessed and exited out of the program. It was very important because they helped my son to talk. I feel that the early intervention that the San Andreas Regional Center provides is essential. As a classroom teacher, I see students that come through my classroom that have received early intervention services in speech or their other needs. And I see children that should have gotten it early and they didn't. And for those that receive the early intervention services, it helps their elementary school years be more successful. They've come in with the foundation that they really need. For those that don't have the services, they're missing that important foundation, and it compounds as they get into the older elementary grades, and school is much more difficult for those children. Speech services were important, I think, for my son, because it really helped build that early foundation for him. He's going to be much more successful as he goes into elementary school.
My name is Katie Rohrbaugh, and I am at Allen at Steinbeck. I am an RSP preschool teacher. Early intervention is crucial for the majority of all of our students. Well, actually every student that we see. All of them are coming in with some sort of delay, and this is the time to really build up their skills and help them prepare for really the rest of their life.
Hi, my name is Melinda, and this is my son Harlan, and I'm here to talk with you a little bit today about the state budget cuts and the cuts that you're considering for education and for special needs students across the state of California. This is my son Harlan, and I have the opportunity to talk with you today, not only as a principal in San Jose Unified School District, but as a mother of a San Andreas Regional Center client. My son Harlan, when he was born, he was born with a wide variety of deficits and disabilities, and it was through the extreme effort and love and care and attention that he received through the therapists and the providers who worked with him, that he's able to be the little boy that he is today. As you can see, he's sitting here at the table and he's playing with toys and he's doing pretend play, but those were all things that just over a year ago he wasn't able to do. When he was a year old, he wasn't able to roll or walk or actively play with his big sister. When he was almost 2.5, he still was unable to talk due to some hearing loss and some speech deficits, and he's been working intensely with speech therapists through San Andreas Regional Center and now our local school district, and he's a totally different child today than he was a year ago. So thank you for all the support that you put towards schools and through early intervention over the past years, and as you go to look at these cuts, just take the time to consider each individual child and children just like Harlan who are now ready to thrive and learn in kindergarten because of all the earlier intervention that you put into them. Thank you.
Dear Senators and Assembly members, as an early education specialist, this is a crucial time in my students' lives, and these services make them successful for the rest of their life. Please, please consider us and consider all of our needs and make sure that we have students who are able to go out in the world and be successful.
Loving the video, guys. Loving it. Moving on to our next speaker, Eduardo Najaro was born and raised in Mexico City. Growing up in a community with limited resources, he quickly learned the hardships of life and how crucial it is to make services available to people in need. Motivated at an early age, he attended, I'm going to mess up these names, Universidad Nacional Autónoma de Mexico, and earned a BS in psychology, becoming the first in his generation to receive a college degree. He then worked for Instituto Mexicano del Seguro Social as a social worker in Centro Médico La Raza. In the desire to continue his expertise with human behavior, he migrated to California. In 2002, Eduardo began part-time employment working as a job coach for Hope Services, while at the same time he worked for Safeway throughout Monterey and Santa Cruz County areas. Those are also known as big supporters for the developmental disabilities community by fundraising and career growth. Despite the contrast between both companies, he was able to incorporate their differences by encouraging incoming and present employees to maintain their careers. In 2007, he became part of Housing Choices Coalition as the first bilingual housing coordinator. Since then, he's created prevention programs, housing development, and educating clients and their families in equal housing opportunities within his county. Let's welcome Eduardo Najaro.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Sherry, for that introduction. Thank you. I also want to thank the San Andreas Regional Center and the Service Providers Advisory Committee for the opportunity of being here and delivering this message. As you heard, my name is Eduardo Nájera, and I've been a service provider since 2002. For the past 5 years, I've been a housing coordinator with the Housing Choices Coalition. HEC was funded 15 years ago by a group of parents and service providers concerned about the lack of affordable housing for people with developmental disabilities. During my time, I have had the pleasure of helping clients and their families get into affordable housing. With the help of my co-workers, we've been able to simplify the process that is affordable housing to a step-by-step program. From the dream of home ownership to the Section 8 vouchers. With these services, every year we increase the number of clients living independently in a place that they call their own. Every placement is an accomplishment for HEC, but our biggest achievement is the awareness that we bring into the community, because in the future, we expect our clients to have a place of their own without the help of an agency. In the past 10 years, I have experienced how rate freezes and funding cuts have impacted not just our agency, but everyone who provides a service for our clients. Every fiscal year brings new struggles to the home of our clients and their families. When I see the number of clients that register for services and that it exceeded the number of service providers, it creates a challenge for our programs to provide quality of services. In my case, I have over 15,000 families registered in a waitlist since 2008 that won't get an opportunity in the next 4 years. Every cut, every bad statistic, I see a provider that has been able to overcome all these budget cuts and keep their agencies running. I've been fortunate enough to serve with a lot of great service providers, and today I see a lot of faces in this room. These are the service providers that don't go home until the job gets done, because the hours being cut don't matter when you have a client in need. Today, we are calling on every one of you to help us deliver a message. Today, we're calling on you to help us take this message to us legislators. This generation has got a big advantage. With the help of the internet, we can reach more people than before. Today, when you have the opportunity to go back home or to go back to your workplaces, please help us reach those legislators. Please tell them your story. So together we can support the Governor Brown proposal to end the current 4.2 fine reduction. Help us contact those legislators so we can eliminate the $200 million reduction. Help us contact those legislators so we can fix the child bill language requiring service providers to have an annual fiscal review. Please help us take that message to everyone. With the help of the social networks and the net, we have a big advantage. Go home, take some postings, tweet, and email everybody. And please help us take that message to the legislators. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Toby. What's your name?
My name is Nick.
How has the Regional Center helped you?
Well, it's helped me a lot of. It's helped me with a lot of things, to communicate with other people, and having autism has made it difficult for me to communicate with people that I haven't. But it's making me a better person. The Regional Center. I just have to say that the Regional Center has helped me a lot through my life.
So why is that important to you?
Well, because I want to reach out to people, and I just want to make friends. That's all I wanted to do. Well, if I didn't have those services, I wouldn't become a I wouldn't have any friends. I wouldn't play music. Well, I would play music, but I don't know which friends to play them to.
Hi, I'm Toby. What's your name?
My name's Nicole Krupp. I'm a respite supervisor with Care at Home, which is a home health care agency located in Campbell. This state budget cuts really affect the Care at Home community as well as the developmental delay community tremendously. These budget cuts are something that really affects our clients because it cuts the benefits that they do receive, which could help with early intervention with autism, developmental delays, things like that. So the budget cuts are a huge impact on our community, not only with the 0 to 3 years of age, but also the school age to up to adulthood.
My name is Becky D'Onofrio. I'm the director of a supported living agency in Santa Cruz, and we have been subject to cuts to our services over the last 2 years, and we've been creative and we've been able to make it work even with the cuts, but we are really determined that any further cuts to our services would be detrimental to the people that we provide services to. We can only be so creative, and we are pretty much at the end of that rope. So I hope that you will think clearly and long about the idea of making any further cuts to services. Thank you.
Mr. Legislator, I feel what you're doing is not really right, cutting programs from people who basically need a direction. Like, we could afford a lot of luxuries in this country. I feel like my parents brought me into this country for a better life, and we have all these luxuries and a lot of things that make this a great nation. And I feel that programs for the physically and learning disabled should be really important and not just tossed aside like anything. Señor legislador, yo pienso que los cortes que quieren hacer es injusto. Yo pienso que la gente con disabilidades debería de tener estos programas, especialmente que ese país tiene muchos lujos, porque mis padres me trajeron a este país para disfrutar de los lujos y todas las bendiciones que lleva, es que hace este país una nación buena y poderosa. Yo pienso que para los deshabilitados físicamente y deshabilitados con deshabilidades de aprender, no deberían de ser hechos a un lado, deberían de tener los mismos lujos y las mismas oportunidades para salir adelante que todo el resto de la población en ese país.
I just want to tell the legislators that the cuts that they want to do in basic programs for people, for kids with disability, are not fair. As a parent, I've been struggling with my son for so many years, looking for the right program for him, but these cuts are really going to affect the kids with disabilities. So I believe that all the kids have the same opportunities to be successful in this country. Solamente quiero decirles que a los legisladores que todos los recortes presupuestales que quieren hacer para los programas para niños con disabilidades no son justos. Yo como padre de un niño con disabilidad he sufrido o he batallado por muchos años para encontrar el programa adecuado para él y se batalla mucho. Yo creo que todos los niños deben de tener las mismas oportunidades de salir adelante con programas justos en este país.
Supporting people with disabilities is vitally important, because really what we need to look at is finding ways for them to use their abilities. Another important thing to keep in mind is that it may cost a lot now to provide intervention for people with special needs. However, the choice is you can either pay a lot now or you can pay much, much more later when you have people who are not living to their potential and contributing to society.
Next person we're introducing is Jonathan Schwanz. He's a bright, charismatic young man with cerebral palsy. Jonathan was born and raised in Monterey Peninsula and has inspired many along his journey. Since 2007, Jonathan has been an active participant in HOPE Community Services Integration Program in Monterey County. Though he uses a wheelchair for transportation, it can sometimes be difficult to understand when he speaks. These challenges have not stopped him from being actively involved in his community. Jonathan delivers meals for Meals on Wheels, swims at the Monterey Sports Center, and takes classes at Monterey Peninsula College, just to name a few. Jonathan also works hard to raise awareness about people with developmental disabilities by participating in disability awareness trainings at local elementary schools in collaboration with Special Kids Crusade. Jonathan, his support facilitator, and other HOPE participants speak to 2nd through 5th graders about the challenges of living with a disability and how they are able to overcome those challenges and positively impact their community. Jonathan looks forward to continuing to teach young children about people with developmental disabilities. He's a naturally born writer and has been writing novels since he was a kid, and he was recently interviewed and featured in an article written in the Monterey Weekly newspaper promoting his recent novel. Jonathan plans to submit it to publishers once it's complete. We're going to speak hear from Jonathan today, and he's got his interpreter, Leanne, with him today, and who's going to be helping us out. So let's welcome Jonathan Schwanz.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jonathan Schwanz. Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
I am the first thing that English know is I'm a 27-year-old with cerebral palsy.
I'm a 27-year-old with cerebral palsy.
That means I cannot do everything I want to do on my own.
That means I can't do everything I want to do on my own, and I require assistance.
I was going to say it. I require assistance. Although I require assistance, those of you who really know that I'm not an idiot.
But because I require assistance, it doesn't mean that I'm an idiot.
In fact, the truth is, I'm a very bright young man.
In fact, the truth is, I'm a very bright young man.
I am the greatest you'll ever meet.
One of the greatest you'll ever meet.
I go to Hope Services, like the outreach program, which was founded by Anna gets more over there, and he wants it now. It's a program that helps those that get down and getting physically
Right now I go to Hope Services, which provides training and outreach programs for physically and developmentally disabled individuals.
And also provides support for those people who unfortunately sometimes get mistreated in their homes.
It provides support for some people who unfortunately sometimes get mistreated in their homes.
They are loving people who have done nothing caregivers can have their lives taken away.
They are loving people who have done nothing to deserve to have their rights taken away.
And that because people don't realize we give back to the community.
In fact, quite often people don't realize just how much we give back to the community.
One of the ways we do this is I myself have I volunteer with Meals on Wheels and with Salvation Army.
Some of the ways that we do this is I volunteer with Meals on Wheels and Salvation Army.
And it's the same cuts the funding. It won't just impact us, it will impact reality as well.
And if the state cuts back funding, it won't just impact us, it'll impact the elderly people we serve through our volunteer opportunities.
It's like a sitting in a circle. If you take one part away, the other parts won't survive.
It's like a circle. If you take one part away, the other parts won't survive.
So, I also go to a community college to further my education.
Right now I go to a community college to further my education.
I love history, not specifically ancient history.
I love history, particularly ancient history.
So in closing, I would like to say this. We fought for 8 years during the Olympic Games. We fought for freedom from the British Empire. If we take away the freedom and the rights for the disabled, how can we call this country the land of the free?
In closing, I would like to say that freedom was worth fighting for in the Revolutionary War. If we take away the rights from the disabled, how can we declare this country to be land of the free?
Because freedom is not just for the privileged. Freedom is yours by right, and it shall be never taken away.
Because freedom isn't just for the privileged. Freedom is yours by right, and it should never be taken away.
I have the right of that. I can walk or not. I send you. I send before you today is a living testament to technology.
Whether you're white or black, or if you can walk or not, I stand before you today as a living testament of technology.
I want to say that I love this country. I love these people. I love all the religions. That when it comes to freedom, you cannot come back on the life of long particular good just because of mine. How is that like?
I've overcome so much in my life. I want to say that I love this country. I love its people. I love all the religions. But when it comes to freedom, people should not cut back on the freedom of one particular group just because of money. How is that right?
Thank you for your time. And thank you for having me.
Thank you to Jonathan and Leanne. The next person we're introducing is Alicia Mesa. Alicia's been married for 13 years and she has 3 beautiful children. Kaylee is 12, Pablito 10, and William is 8. Kaylee and William are 2 typical children, and Pablito is affected with autism and is on the severe end of the spectrum. They live in Freedom, California, and thanks to the San Andreas Regional Center and the services that they fund, Alicia's family is able to survive and stay together. Let's welcome Alicia Mesa.
Thank you. Good morning. Like she said, my name is Alicia Mesa, and my son, Pablito, show you how handsome he is. This is Pablito. He's 10 years old, and he is on the severe end of the autism spectrum. Like you can see, he's super handsome. He has a beautiful, contagious smile that I just love to brag about. He enjoys listening to country music, Spanish pop, and watching music videos. He especially enjoys carry underwear videos. Boys will be boys, I guess. We love our Pablito, but he is very challenging to care for. Excuse me, Justice. He needs a moment-to-moment supervision. He is nonverbal, and like many nonverbal children, he is very easily frustrated. A heartbreaking result of this frustration is serious self-injury. He engages in stereotypy also, in the form of almost constant, very loud vocalizations. These vocalizations make it hard to have any peace in the home and make it very difficult to be out in public. I feel like we're always being judged when we're out in public because he is so loud and not always welcomed. Our dream is for Pablito to independently care for himself, but as of now, he needs our maximum attention and assistance for dressing, eating, and toileting. For the first 3 years of Pablito's diagnosis, I declined the respite hours offered by the regional center. I suppose that it might have been a form of denial on my part. I convinced myself that with the ABA, he would outgrow what I thought was a horrifying diagnosis. But he didn't, and in fact, as he got older, he got more challenging. It was not easy accepting that I needed help. It made me feel like I was a bad mother, that I was failing as a mother. How could I possibly justify needing time away from my son? But I'm not only Pablito's mom, I'm also Kaylee and William's mom. They had to have some sort of normalcy in their lives. I needed to do everything in my power to minimize the difficulties they were constantly exposed to. My husband and I needed to try and re-energize so that we could better support each other and our children emotionally. Meanwhile, my case manager kept offering me services every year until I finally accepted. Our family life took a 180-degree turn. Prior to receiving services from SARC, we were overwhelmed with emotional and physical exhaustion, as well as social isolation. We went for long periods of time without contacting relatives, avoided family gatherings. Our children were not able to participate in any after-school activities. And my husband, Rob, and I had almost zero contact with friends and family. We were doing everything just to get through the day. Some days were better than others, but we were always exhausted. So much of our time and effort seemed to be going towards Pablito and his many complex needs. But we were and are very mindful that our other children also needed us. Our family situation can often present them with special and difficult situations. They're often feeling that their needs were going unacknowledged or unmet. Rob and I often felt stretched and unable to do everything that needed to be done for each child in our home. Thankfully, the services provided by SARC have allowed us to balance out our focus and attention among all our children, as well as giving Pablito all that he needs and giving Rob and I a much needed break. Now we can provide comfort and peace for Kaylee, William, and Pablito. For Kaylee and William, we help them so that they can face and accept the challenge they have as siblings of an autistic brother. Now thanks to the respite my family receives from SARC, my daughter is able to do her math, history, and science in a quiet library. My son William is able to study and do his reading in the absence of a hectic and noisy environment. Prior to us receiving services, this was not possible. They were often frustrated and stressed over not being able to effectively study or complete their homework assignments. Thanks to our respite hours, we are able to take our children to movies, and they are both participating in after-school activities. This would not be possible without the services provided by SARC. My husband and I go on date nights now. Again, this was not possible before. And thanks to Esperinet and the wraparound services they provide through SARC, I feel like my family is getting a big hug. Together with our caring and supportive staff, we are starting to work towards helping Pablito be a part of society. I'm looking forward to a better life for my son Pablito, a life where he will be able to accompany me to the grocery store, a life where he will be able to sit down and watch his little brother's baseball game, a life where we can someday all go to the movies together as a family. Yes, Pablito is flourishing. I have big dreams for Pablito, and thanks to the services provided by Esperinet that are funded through the Regional Center, these dreams can one day become our reality. I am grateful that Pablito is getting services and opportunities that will help him to excel and develop and be a part of society. I'm also equally terrified by the threat of cuts to any of the services. I realize that these are hard economic times and that many services have already been cut or are drastically in threat of being cut. Legislators, please don't cut these programs. I am only one voice. We need louder voices. We moms and dads can be loud. Fellow parents, get involved, get active. Ask your legislators not to make any cuts. They are crucial for our families. I hope that the hearts and minds of those who develop and refine programs for people with autism and other disabilities will have insight, wisdom, and compassion to pursue what these vulnerable people need. Let's ask those who make funding decisions to be creative, to find ways of channeling resources into programs. I hope and ask that they would have a glimpse of the long-term gains from the investment in children like mine, both for them as individuals and for society as a whole. I'm going to close and say that, as Franklin D. Lanterman said so perfectly, never again will these unfortunate people be ignored by the government. Our children need more workhorses of the state like him. Thank you.
Hello, I am Toby Ames, and I am here with Assembly Monning. Hello, Assembly Member Monning.
Hi, Toby. Thank you so much for interviewing me today. I'm looking forward to this.
Okay. It is an honor to meet you again. And thank you for your support for people with disabilities. Thank you for fighting to our services.
Well, Toby, again, thank you, and I think you provide a wonderful service to the community by conducting these interviews. I've welcomed the opportunity to meet with you and members of the community in an effort to provide broader education to people who maybe aren't familiar with the community of people living with disabilities, thriving with disabilities, but clearly dependent on continued support from the state of California.
How will this year's budget affect people with disabilities? We will face more cuts.
Well, the last few years, the state of California has faced enormous reductions in the revenues coming into the state since the collapse of the financial industry in 2008. I might mention an unregulated financial industry. We're still suffering the losses in the worst recession since the Great Depression, and it's been necessary in the past budget cycles to make very tough cuts to a broad range of programs, not just disability programs, but education, higher education, safety net programs, Medi-Cal reimbursements. The list goes on. And this year, what we're trying to do is to protect the level of cuts to avoid further cuts, because they've gone deep, and as we say in Sacramento, we've cut to the bone, we've cut to the bone marrow, and the next proposed cuts could be wholesale amputations of programs. We want to fight against that, but we have limited options right now given the voting distribution in Sacramento.
Well, we've come to the point where we actually get to hear from Bill Monning personally, and I'm honored to get to introduce him. I've actually known Assemblymember Monning for about 3 years, and I've had the privilege of voting for him for 2 sessions, and he's now running for state senate. And I've got this long bio that I'm not going to read, because let me tell you what, let's keep it to the point. This is a good man to us. He's a friend of the regional center, and he's a friend to every one of you in this room who cares about developmental disabilities. This man is on our side, and that is what you need to know. He cares about each and every one of you, and he demonstrates that by his advocacy, but he's a man by himself. We need your voice to help him speak up for us as well. He needs to hear from you. So let's welcome Bill Bonney.
Well, good morning. Thank you for this opportunity. Did you all enjoy that wonderful breakfast? And I know you've been patient. I've just been amazed with the presentations. Jonathan, families, providers, let's give them a big round of thanks. And Santi Rogers, who opened, and you're going to hear from him as we close this afternoon, but I think as many of you know, Santi Rogers has devoted his life to this work. He's an institution in Sacramento. He has been the motive force that has crafted many of the programs that we talk about. Let's give a big thanks to Santi Rogers. I also want to thank Sherry for her masterful emceeing, but more importantly, the work she does in support of the programs, all of the providers, all of the families, and most importantly, you, the clients, the people who give life, vision, and purpose to the work that we all do. Let's give each and all of us a big hand. And I just have to give a special thanks to our journalists, videographers, Toby, Kanan, Felicia, Jared, and Mike. Let's thank all of them. You guys are amazing. And keep it up. It's your work that does get the message out to the broader community, and I look forward to continuing to support your work as activist journalists. Thank you very much. Also, I want to thank those who visited my office in Sacramento this week, including, well, Francisco was with the team that came up. I want to thank Francisco. Also, Monsuno, who was introduced earlier. David Foster joined us in my office, but we made many visits. Let's thank all of those who made the effort to come to Sacramento. And I just want to underscore the importance of the visits, the letters, the emails, the faxes. In my office, we quantify. We read every message we get, and then we quantify under specific legislation or the budget what we're hearing from our district, what we're hearing from constituents, and that is the most important advocacy and lobbying in my office, and I think for most members, is what we hear from the people that we represent. And your voice has been loud and clear. It gives me strength to represent you in these very tough times. I do sit on the budget committee, I chair the health committee, and currently in our subcommittee on health and human services and the budget, we are grappling with the governor's budget proposals, trying to balance a $9 billion deficit. And as has been mentioned earlier today, part of that balancing proposal is further cuts to the most vulnerable in the state of California. Not just disability services, but as many of you know, it becomes a double whammy, a triple whammy, when not only a proposed cut to disability services, combined with proposed cuts or limited visits under Medi-Cal, combined with proposed cuts to in-home support services, it becomes a perfect storm, where people who are dependent not just on one of these services, but indeed all of these services to live a full, healthy, and safe life, a cut to one program is just part of the proposed hit. So as we look at the budget in its totality, it becomes critical that we understand that it's not just a proposed cut here and here and here, but those combine to have a potentially massive impact on individuals, families, clients, and providers. Now, Santi talked about the Lanterman Act, the Developmental Disability Services Act of 1965. And when we spoke a couple of years ago, as has been framed, this is the Civil Rights Act of the disability community. And just as Martin Luther King marched and ultimately died for equality for people of color in this country, equality for African Americans, the right to vote, and the right to stand side by side in educational opportunity. That is the civil rights movement upon which we build. My work with the United Farm Workers and Cesar Chavez, winning the right for farm workers to have a voice in representation in their workplace in the fields here in California. That's another historic civil rights movement. But the disabilities movement, the movement to protect the Lanterman Act, not just to win it, but as we know with all civil rights movements, it is a constant struggle. We don't just reach a moment of having passed the law and suggest now our rights are protected. With all civil rights movements, with the rights of gay, lesbian, transgender individuals, it is an ongoing struggle. And so the work that you do by giving voice to your community is part and parcel of a broader campaign in our state, our nation, and indeed globally, to protect and advance freedom, dignity, and fundamental human rights. So we should never allow anyone to discount or dismiss the voice of the disabilities community. And it is a community not just of people living with disabilities and different abilities, but it is an inclusive community of family members, of providers, and indeed of a broader community of people who care. And this room is filled today, this morning, with people who care, but what we need to do is take the energy gathered here this morning and move it out with Toby and others' video messages and link it to this current budget fight that we are in. And it is a very tough fight. Governor Brown inherited a very tough budget when he became governor last year. And yet he needs to be sensitized and constantly educated to the impact of some of these proposed cuts. And we can't just simply say, don't cut, don't cut. We need to start articulating how we can avoid those cuts by enhancing revenue in our state budget, revenue based on equitable taxation in this state, a balanced budget based on everybody in this state paying their fair share. Last year, when we faced $26 billion deficit, a 30% drop in state revenues, our state's economy, the economic activity, passed $2 trillion for the first time in the history of this state. We are positioned as the 8th strongest economy in the world if we were a nation, and yet we've been unsuccessful in establishing a basic taxation system based on fairness, equality, and equal responsibility to meet the needs of all Californians. So as we move towards November, Governor Brown is proposing a ballot measure supported by the California Federation of Teachers that would raise income tax on the highest wealth earners in the state of California. It would also raise a 1/4 cent sales tax. We had a 1/2 cent sales tax that sunsetted last year. The combination of the governor's proposed measure, we first need to qualify for the November ballot, and then we need to pass it in the November ballot. That will provide $8 to $9 billion a year of additional revenue that will give us more choices in how we balance a budget and more choices in protecting programs like disability services, in-home support services, Medi-Cal, and every other safety net program that members of our community depend upon. And it's members of our community, not just those living with disabilities and different abilities, but it's others who are working poor, who are single parents, who are unemployed parents, who are families struggling to pay the rent each month, struggling to find access to medical services. And while President Obama signed the historic Affordable Care Act that is now under review and scrutiny of the U.S. Supreme Court, we are moving forward with confidence that we will be implementing the Affordable Care Act in the state of California, and by doing that, expanding access to 3 to 4 million Californians who currently don't have health care coverage. So we need to pull together, we need to see how different communities share common purpose in building a budget that is moral and humane. And the homework assignment as we leave today, for those of you who share in this vision, is to help circulate these petitions that need to be collected before the end of this month, before the end of April. You can go to the California Federation of Teachers website, cft.org, to get more information about the ballot circulation efforts. SEIU is working on that in Santa Cruz County, Monterey County. Each one of us needs to collect 10 signatures, 20 signatures, 100 signatures to guarantee that we give voters the choice and the opportunity to do what's right for the future of the state of California. Now, as some of you know, I'm running for a state Senate seat. I will be using my campaign to talk about this budget crisis. I will be using it to build support for people to support the governor's ballot measure, to bring greater equity to our budget and revenue sources. I'm honored to be campaigning with Mark Stone, who's running for my assembly seat as I run for the Senate seat. And as Sherry said in my introduction, we can't do it alone. Our strength in Sacramento, my voice is emboldened and strengthened by the engagement of this community, of our community. So I thank you for being here this morning. I thank you for what you do day to day, performing miracles, demonstrating your strength, your integrity, and your will to be part of a humane, caring community. So let's leave here today, redouble our effort to work with one another, to support each other with respect and caring, but to carry a message where we do not waver from our confidence to engage anybody in the streets, at the supermarket, in our neighborhoods, with confidence that we need to build a humane budget in this state. We need to protect the civil rights of all, and critical to that is protecting the Lanterman Act as the Civil Rights Act in California of the disabled community. So I salute you, I thank you, and I look forward to moving out of here with all of you today with purpose. Let's lead this state to a next level of humanity and caring. Thank you very much.
Assembly member, I almost got it wrong. I made one little bad-mannered event. There's so many great people in the room. There's a number of people exercising one of the unbelievable rights as a citizen. Everyone in this room has the opportunity to do that too. Is to run for a public office. That takes a lot of courage anytime, and this time, these days, it takes an enormous amount of courage. And we always should applaud them. Eric Hammer, who was running a candidate for Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors, sat right back there for about a couple hours, and he had to go to another event. Remember that name? It's about choices that you want to investigate each of the candidates and then ask them the question. Now, we have an audience of people that truly know how to ask questions in all kinds of different languages, and that's what we're really all about. Today, I get to thank people as we move through the last moments here in a beautiful Santa Cruz County day. Is it not a beautiful day? Yeah! Sherry Reynolds, thank you again this year for guiding us through this, as well as the advisory group, our service provider advisory group. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you very much. Eduardo, where are you? Right over there. I got to see him. You asked him afterwards, why do I see him at 11 o'clock at night? You know, that's when I go shopping. I should have clarified it, right? That's when I go shopping at Safeway, because Safeway hires people that I know. Jonathan? Holy cow, dude. We're going to have to spend more time together. I look forward to talking with you and meeting with you. Okay? Okay. Alicia? You're not nervous, are you? Yeah, you did wonderful. Let's thank her again. Earlier this morning, I talked to you about those moms. All of us who are blessed with strong moms, most all moms are strong moms. I certainly had a mom. Was about that tall. My grandmother was about this tall. Latin grandmothers and mothers are special. And that's where I'll leave it at. It was always the simple note of freedom of speech, but it's freedom of action. I'm here to solicit from you what those moms taught me many, many decades ago, and the civil rights issues that were as clear as clear. When you graduate from high school in 1962, you get introduced to civil rights. When you live to the front end of the 60s, you get a lot of opportunities to make really good decisions and the opposite ones. You get to see history, incredible history. The civil rights part of it did not go unnoticed for any of us, did not. The pledge I'm asking you to pledge. Are you willing today to pledge yourself to speak every opportunity you can for justice? For justice for the people that we've been talking about today. We leave nobody behind. Are you willing to pledge yourself? If you are, raise your hand. If you really are, whatever way you stand up, stand up. Please stand up. Jonathan's standing up, everybody's standing up, everybody's standing up. Now you say, I will do this. I will do this. I will. And I leave nobody behind. You leave anybody behind? No way. Bless you all. Be good. Be safe. Do good.